Scandinavian Airlines System, or shortly SAS, is the largest airline in Northern Europe and the flag carrier of three Scandinavian countries, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. At the time of making this video, SAS, including its subsidiaries SAS Link and SAS Connect, operates a fleet of 125 aircraft to 130 destinations. The main hub of SAS is Copenhagen Airport, which connects to more than 115 destinations worldwide. The other smaller hubs are Oslo and Stockholm. SAS is currently undergoing a major transformation as the airline emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings only a few months ago. Nevertheless, a Scandinavian flag carrier is heavily investing in new aircraft and adding many new routes, but I will tell even more interesting things about this in a while. SAS currently has only Airbus aircraft in its fleet, of course not taking into account regional aircraft, but in the past things were a little bit different, with the airline operating a wide variety of Boeing-made aircraft and being a loyal Boeing customer. So what's happened that SAS decided to say goodbye to Boeing and turned fully to Airbus instead? Let's answer this question. For many years, the SAS Group operated a diverse fleet comprising McDonnell Douglas MD-80s, Airbus A320s, and Boeing 737s, including both next generation and even a few aircraft in classic variant. The airline also had several rare Boeing models, such as the 737-600 and 767-200, which were largely unpopular among other carriers. Additionally, SAS used the 700 and 800 versions of the American manufacturer's most popular jetliner. Notably, the airline's fleet also included the renowned Boeing 747 jumbo jets, although in older 100 and 200 variants. Overall, Boeing aircraft played a crucial role in SAS's operations, and only just a few years ago, it was the manufacturer with the largest share in the Scandinavian Airlines fleet. To make things even more interesting, in the 1990s, there were no Airbuses in the SAS fleet at all, and the company was considered a loyal Boeing customer, with all aircraft except for MD-80s being made by Boeing. So how was it possible that SAS completely rejected the American company's offer and opted for its main competitor's offer instead? Everything began back in 1995. SAS faced the decision to replace its aging Fokker F-28s, McDonnell Douglas DC-9s, and some older MD-80s. Everyone in the industry assumed the order would go to McDonnell Douglas, justifying the production launch of the MD-95 aircraft, later known as the Boeing 717. However, in a surprising move, SAS decided to order 80 Boeing 737 next-generation aircraft, including options, rejecting Airbus's offer, which at the time was considered too expensive and did not fully meet the airline's criteria. The absence of the smallest Airbus model, the A318, which had not yet been developed, further influenced this decision. The fact that the SAS Group operated a 737 Classic variant was also very important. The smallest version of the 737 played a crucial role in the order. SAS became the launch customer of the 737-600 variant, eventually operating 30 of these aircraft. You might wonder why the airline was so eager to adopt an aircraft that few others ordered. The answer is simple. In the 1990s, low-cost carriers had not yet become significant players in Europe, and airlines were less focused on reducing cost per seat. The 600 variant seemed like an ideal replacement for the similarly sized DC-9s and Fokker F-28s that flew primarily on intra-Scandinavian routes where ticket prices were high. Returning to Airbus, SAS received its first Airbus narrow-body aircraft, the A320neo, in 2001, choosing it as the best option for high-capacity routes over 737-900. In 2006, A390s joined the fleet as the airline decided to diversify between two manufacturers. In the early 2010s, SAS once again faced the decision to renew its narrow-body fleet. On December 1, 2010, Airbus launched the A320neo family, which offered improved fuel economy and operating efficiency compared to the 737, thanks to its new engines. Boeing appeared to be caught off guard by this move, subsequently deciding to launch the 737 MAX, a re-engined version of the 737, in the second half of 2011. As we know, the story of this jet, designed hastily to compete with Airbus, unfolded differently later. Nevertheless, Boeing was already too late as SAS placed an order for 30 Airbus A320neo with an option of an additional 11 Airbus A320neo in June 2011. This sealed the fate of Boeing aircraft in the SAS fleet, as it turned out later. After the first A320neo delivery in 2016, the airline was so pleased with the A320neo's performance that only 2 years later, it ordered 50 more units. At the same time, it became apparent that the company would have an all-Airbus fleet in the future. In 2020, as the pandemic erupted, SAS decided to retire the remaining 737 quicker than it had initially planned. On November 19, 2023, SAS operated its last Boeing 737 flight from Stockholm to Oslo with a low pass over Copenhagen Airport. In total, 120 Boeing 737s passed through the airline's fleet. The reason to switch from the 737s to A320s was simple. Boeing failed to offer an A320neo competitor in time, so Airbus remained the only choice. Now let's explore why the SAS widebody fleet is also Airbus only, and there are no 777s or Dreamliners there. For most of the 1990s, 767s were the only widebody aircraft in the SAS fleet, with as many as 16 units in regular service at the same time. At the end of the decade, SAS faced the decision to renew its long-haul fleet. Around the same time, the Asian economic crisis erupted, and since Asia was the most important intercontinental market for SAS, the proposed 777-200s were deemed too large for the airline's needs. Interestingly, SAS was also in talks with Boeing about a 777-100 variant, which would have been shorter than the 200 version and offered a longer range. However, the negotiations failed as Boeing opted not to proceed with this variant. In the end, the airline decided to reject Boeing's offer of 10 777-200ER in favor of a mix of A330-300s and A340s. This combination was a better option for SAS as it provided greater flexibility for network planning and allowed the airline to adapt more effectively to changing demand. Upgrading the entire fleet from 767s to 777s would have rendered many destinations unprofitable. Additionally, the 777's higher maximum takeoff weight compared to the A340-300 would have resulted in increased airport fees. For the next 20 years, SAS operated up to 9 A330s and 8 A340s. The replacement for these aircraft became evident, especially after the decision to transition to an all-Airbus narrow-body fleet. In 2013, SAS ordered 8 A350-900s with an additional 6 options. Deliveries began in 2019. Unfortunately, due to financial difficulties, the airline phased out 2 of the A350s and did not exercise its options. As a result, the SAS widebody fleet currently comprises only 6 A350s and 8 A330s. Nowadays, Scandinavian Airlines is emerging from one of the biggest crises it has ever faced. A combination of poor decisions such as the 3-hub strategy, competition from low-cost carriers, and pandemic-related travel restrictions led the airline into serious financial troubles. As a result, the new management decided to sell part of its shares to the Air France-KLM group and transition from Star Alliance, of which the airline was a founding member, to SkyTeam, which offers much greater flexibility and partnership options compared to the Lufthansa-dominated Star Alliance, which blocked future development of the airline. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.